Hey, what's up guys, it's Sher Nic, and I'm Steven Universe Trash, and remember when I used to dress up for videos? I used to do my face and my makeup and all that. Yeah, me too. Will I ever go back to that? Honestly, I'm so tired after work, I don't think I can ever do anything ever again. But I can still watch Steven Universe and post videos 3 days late. So this episode was kind of like the Lapis Lazuli episode. I've noticed that Steven Universe usually has this way of doing things where they have like episodes centered around each character, and it was so nice because this is the second episode that Lapis has been in, and we already have her backstory and why she hates the crystal gems, what's going on Earth, how she got to Earth, why she was in the mirror. We got everything all in this sweet, quick amount of time, and it kind of blew my mind because I was like, holy shizballs, they're telling us everything right now. And it really took me by surprise because I wasn't expecting that, but I'm so glad that's how it went down. So the episode starts out with Steven and Peridot telling the story about how they beat the cluster or made friends with the cluster and so on. And Peridot is really overdoing it, and she's so erratic, and she's just talking and everything. But we notice that Steven is pretty down, and he is really worried about Lapis. So he and Garnet go and they check on her, and they say, you know, she'll be fine as soon as she wakes up. And it was really funny to me that Lapis was sleeping / unconscious, because we already know that gems don't sleep. So it was really interesting to see that, because I was like, gems don't sleep. So she must really be hurt. She must really be tired because gems don't sleep. So I thought that was really interesting. And I noticed that other people didn't really say anything about it. And I was like, so do gems do sleep? I was kind of confused, but it was a good kind of confusion. It was nice to have that internal discussion. And so Steven decides to stay at the barn, and he's in this little caterpillar sleeping box, not a box, what are they called? Sleeping bags. So he's in this little sleeping bag, and he hears a noise, so he gets up and he investigates, and he notices that Lapis is leaving, and he's like, well, I don't necessarily want you to go, but if you feel like that you should go or that you want to go, you can. You're not trapped here. You're not a prisoner, because she's been a prisoner practically for all of her life that she's been on Earth. So it was really kind of interesting to see him be so sweet and so delicate with her, because even though I know Steven isn't a bad person, I don't know why, but I wasn't expecting him to be so nice to her, about leaving. He was like, okay, you can go if you want to, and that was really sweet. And so she goes and she leaves, but the next day he sees her again, and she realizes that homeworld probably isn't the place that it used to be. She was a prisoner for so long, she doesn't know what's going to happen. You know, she imprisoned Jasper in the bottom of the ocean, and then she was in the mirror before that, and so she doesn't really know if homeworld is going to be home. So Steven ends up telling her, you know, you can always stay on Earth, even if you don't want to stay in the barn or stay with us, the crystal gems, you can always find another place on Earth to go. So then we get to have this little, exploration of all of the other cities around Beach City, and I thought that was so cool. We had this one that kind of looked like New York, and I guess one that was supposed to be Jersey, and it was just so interesting to see, because, I've always kind of pictured, Beach City on this little island in the middle of the ocean, kind of separated from everything else. So it was kind of cool to be like, oh, okay, so there is a mainland besides, you know, Beach City. So that was really interesting for me, and I really liked that. And we got to see a lot of Lapis's personality. We saw her before in Mirror Gem, where she was really funny, and she was really fun talking to Steven and all that, and that was good and that was great, and we got to see a lot more of that, and that was so fun and interesting. I absolutely loved it, and it was just fun to see. It was fun, it was lighthearted, the music was awesome, and it was very peaceful. I think that's the best thing to say about this episode. It was peaceful. And then they get to the crap, what's it called? I never know what anything is called. Oh my god. I don't remember what it's called, but they go to the thing with the big like warp pads, and she ends up telling him the story about how she ended up on Earth and how she ended up in the mirror, which basically the whole story is she came down to Earth, and she was only supposed to be there for a minute, but as soon as she got there, she was like smack down in the middle of the war, and she ran into another gem who ended up poofing her and then taking her gem into custody. And what they did then was they put her in the mirror thinking that she was a crystal gem, and they were like asking her all of these questions, you know, tell us where your home base is, like what's going on, like who's the leader of the crystal gems, da 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 da. And when they were leaving Earth, like fleeing, I think, they left her behind, and like she got trampled, and that's where her gem was cracked, and then she couldn't get herself out. And then later she was found by the crystal gems. She was found by Pearl, and that kind of showed why she had this distaste for them. Not only were they the people who continued to keep her trapped in the mirror instead of letting her out, which they could have done, but they decided not to. And then we have like the reason why she was poofed in the first place and was in the mirror in the first place was literally because of the crystal gems, and then they kind of continued to torture her. Like, none of this would have happened if the crystal gems didn't exist for Lapis, and that's why she was so angry. And I feel like that's also a part of why she went back to Homeworld, and she told everyone and brought Jasper and Peridot with her. Like, even though she wanted to protect Steven and she liked Steven, she was still like, F you, crystal gems, they're not my friends, they're the people who kept me trapped, they're the people who did this and that to me. Like, she was just, she had this anger inside her, and I totally understand why, and I totally understand why she did everything she did. Like, I knew that there was some type of backstory when I first saw her, like, before, like, the jailbreak episode. So it was really nice to get more of a backstory and a little bit more understanding for her, because I personally, I don't really like Lapis. I don't understand why everybody was so fond of her. Like, yes, I thought it was awesome that she did what she did and she entrapped and did like malachite and stuff. But I was really like, girl, that is really unnecessary. You don't have to be doing all of that. But she chose to, and everyone was like adoring her on social media, and I was just like, she's just Lapis. Like, I don't really like her. I'm not that fond of her. I'm sorry. I feel like people are gonna be mad at me because they say that, but I don't really like Lapis. Like, I'm very like, I like Lars more than I like her. I'm sorry. I'm gonna shut up now. But this was an awesome episode. I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Leave a comment below if you want to, so we can talk about it. Let's start a discussion. What's going on? I would love to talk about this episode with you guys. So let's do it, you know, if you want to. So, like, comment, subscribe if you want to. It's all fun and games here. Leave a comment below if you want to. I really would love to talk to you guys about this episode. And if you guys enjoyed it, if you loved it, if you hated it, and if you hated what I look like in this, because I know I do, and I haven't even seen it yet. So, love ya. See ya. Bye!